Hi everybody and welcome back. Today we are going to be reading another fun book out of the Ordinary People Change the World series. It is I Am Sacajawea. Now some of you guys might be like, Miss Jessie, I've heard that name before. And you're right, Sacajawea. Just like Sacajawea State Park right here in Pasco. So let's find out more about this amazing lady. I am Sacajawea. What do people expect of you? Your family, your teachers, your friends. Do they expect you to be a good person? To do well in school, to keep your room clean? People had different expectations of me. In fact, they didn't expect much at all. Why? It was a different time in America. Back then, they didn't think much of people who looked like me. Someone who was a girl, someone who was young, someone who was Native American. When I was born, the United States was still a brand new country. George Washington was just becoming president. But my people, my tribe, which was called the Shoshone, had already lived here for thousands of years. When winter came, the women of our village would pack up our lodges, our homes made of brush we lived in during certain times of the year. In spring and summer, the whole village would move to an area where there was better fishing. In fall or winter, we moved to areas for different foods. This is my father. He was a chief of our village. And this is my brother. We lived in what is now called Idaho. The United States was so young that Idaho didn't exist yet. The snow is arriving. It's time to move on. When I was around 12 years old, our Shoshone tribe was attacked by another tribe. They captured me and took me back to their village. From there, I was given to a French-Canadian man and became his wife. That's when I was given the name you know me by, Sacajawea. So no one knows her real name? That's right. And she was only 14 when she was married? This is how life was back then. War captives were treated like property, something that could be given away, but lucky for me, my life was about to change. I'm Meriwether Lewis, and I am William Clark. We're explorers, and we need an interpreter, someone who can help us speak the other Native American tribes, like the Hindatasea and the Shoshone. I speak Hindatasea, and my wife speaks Shoshone. At the time, I was pregnant. When the baby came, it would be hard to travel, but I didn't have a choice. That's how things were back then. Besides, Lewis and Clark had a mission. A mission from President Thomas Jefferson himself. Today, the United States looks like this. Back then, the U.S. only had 17 states, only the blue part. Thomas Jefferson had just made a deal called the Louisiana Purchase, where he bought the big yellow part in the middle from France. The whole area had never been explored by the U.S. government. There were so many mountains we didn't know if we could even get through. So our goal was to examine the land, open trade relations with the Native Americans, and find a safe path from here to the Pacific Ocean. All right, so that's the original United States. That is the Louisiana Purchase. What do you guys think this is? I guess we'll find out here soon. But the only way to make it happen was with a translator who could help speak to the Native Americans who were already living there. It was harder than you think. To talk to a Native American, I would translate what they say into Hindatasea, a tribal language that my husband spoke. Then, since he didn't speak English, he would translate the Hindatasea into French. Then a member of the team would translate the French into English for Captains Lewis and Clark. What did he say? He wishes you harmony on your journey. By the time we were ready to leave, my son was born. Clark gave him the nickname Pomp, after a Roman general. It was meant as a joke, like calling a child commander. Was it dangerous to take a newborn baby into the wilderness? Of course it was, but we didn't have a choice. Sorry, there was a really loud noise outside. I was trying to see what it was. I wasn't even considered an equal part of the team. That's how things worked back then. In April 1805, the Corps of Discovery sent out from my village to explore this great uncharted land. There was a few dozen men. I was the only girl, the only female teenager, the only one with a baby, and the only Native American. Lewis and Clark thought it would be a one-year trip. They had no idea what they were getting into. Today, my people say I was a guide, but my real job was as an interpreter. Soon enough, though, Lewis and Clark realized I had many other skills. My people lived on this land, and I knew its secrets. With a sharp stick, I'd find wild artichokes that mice had buried in the ground. I'm hungry. There's nothing to eat out here. Wait, the girl, why is she pointing? She's saying these roots and fruits are safe. We can eat them. We can eat these too. Look at these berries she found. These are amazing. It wasn't just food, though. This was my land. My people lived here for centuries. I understood its passageways. In their journals, Lewis and Clark spelled my name 8 different ways. Sacajawea, 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 Sometimes they called me Snake Woman or Bird Woman, but over time they learned exactly who I was. Which turns should we take? She says that one. How does she know? She recognizes that mountain, the one that looks like a beaver head. That means her tribe's been here before. That is the right path. Do you think it was a good idea having Sacajawea on this journey? I think so. One day during a sudden storm, my husband lost control of our boat. The vessel nearly tipped. The men panicked and fought. No, our supplies, our medicines and paper. The supplies, they're floating away. In the middle of this pioneering journey, our supplies, which could not be replaced and were needed for our survival, were about to be lost. Hurry, do something. Someone help us. Stop panicking. Careful, you're going to tip the boat. Only one person stayed calm. Who do you think that was? Carefully balancing myself with my infant son strapped to my back in a boat that was about to flip, I was the only one who gathered our supplies. You see what she's doing? Our instruments, our maps. She's actually getting them. That's right. It was I, a young girl surrounded by soldiers and frontiersmen who saved us all. I didn't wait for someone else to come to the rescue. I came to the rescue. And all the while, I also did my job as an interpreter, helping Lewis and Clark speak to other tribes. In Shoshone, we say you are not human until you learn your language. These are some of the real words from my tribe. I'm not going to try pronouncing them because I don't want to be disrespectful and say them wrong, but I'll definitely show them to you guys. There are no words for hello or goodbye. We didn't want to say goodbye forever, so we would say something that is closer to I will see you later. For our expedition, the word bungu was one of the most important of all. If we wanted to cross the Rocky Mountains, we needed horses. Who had them? The Shoshone, my tribe. I led the way. Be careful, they might attack. I had no idea what to expect that day. It had been years since I was taken from my tribe. Our expedition had never seen a Shoshone war party. A battle could have started. But instead of fighting, both sides began to talk. Sometimes, even without words, you can communicate peace. Soon after, they invited us to meet their chief. That's when I saw my brother, my sister. It was wonderful to see my people again. We traded with them, giving them supplies and even a medallion from Thomas Jefferson. In return, they gave us horses, helping us prepare for our journey through the mountains. Eventually, though, it was time to leave. The next part of your trip will be difficult. You'll be going to places where you won't know the land. You'll meet tribes where you won't know the language. Lewis and Clark really didn't even need you anymore. So may I ask, sister? What do you think he's going to ask her? Why are you going with them? Why not stay here with your family? To this day, no one knows the answer. Some say it was because we still had more to explore. Some say it was because I felt like I was part of the team. Some even say I was inspired by the adventure. One thing was certain, the mission wasn't done. So what would you do? The trip was never easy. We faced grizzly bears. We were hit by hail and flash floods. We ate candles to keep from starving. I even got extremely ill. She's sick. She's a fighter. That winter, our Corps of Discovery had decided where to build our camp. Usually that decision was made by the men in charge, but for once, we'd like to know what you think. We need everyone to vote, including me. Yes, Sacajawea, including you. The final decision rested with Lewis and Clark, but on that day, my vote was cast, like everyone else on the team. Did our expedition ever reach the Pacific? Yes, it did. Part of our group hiked to the water earlier than the rest and sent word back. They say they saw a whale. I want to go. To see the whale? No, just the whale. Not just the whale. I wanted to see the ocean, which I had never seen before. Eventually, I did. In the end, our Corps of Discovery traveled over 2,000 miles. It took a year and a half by boat, horse, and foot. I was the only girl, the only teenager, the only one with a baby, and the only Native American. In my life, people underestimated me. Since I was a girl, they expected me to be weak. Since I was young, they expected me to be inexperienced. And since I was Native American, they expected to treat me unfairly. That's how things were back then, but that's not how they should ever be. Native American people define themselves by their stories. You know my story now, and it's time for you to write your story. Don't let someone else limit you. As Chief Munanak of the Yakama tribe says, we can only be what we give ourselves power to be. At the end of our expedition, Sacagawea's husband was paid $533.30 and given 320 acres of land. As his wife, Sacajawea, was paid nothing. That's not fair. Today there are dozens of parks, landmarks, poems, songs, and even rivers named after her all across the country. Remember when she saved all the supplies during the expedition? When it happened, they named the river after her today. In Montana, it's still called the Sacajawea River. She's the first Native American woman to have her own statue in the U.S. Capitol. She even got her own coin, the Sacajawea dollar, but since there are no pictures of her, the picture on the coin is of a woman from Sacagawea's tribe. Did she really make the whole trip with her baby? Look at the coin and the statue. Baby Pomp is on both. Without Sacagawea's bravery and knowledge, the Lewis and Clark expedition might not have ever been completed. Thanks to her, they were able to create maps, engage other Native American cultures, and find a route to the Pacific. Do you know what it means to navigate something? It means finding your way. Wherever you go in life, whatever mountains you climb and challenges you face, find your own way. Make your own path, shatter expectations. That's what I've always done. I am a girl. I am a teenager. I am a mother. I am a Native American, and I am powerful. I am Sacajawea, and I will blaze my own trail. All right, so Sacagawea is pretty awesome, and I love reading about her and all the amazing history that comes with learning about her. So here's my challenge for you guys, okay? Are you ready for this? Get online and look up the Lewis and Clark trails here in the Pacific Northwest. You can actually still go to a lot of the places that Lewis and Clark and Sacagawea all stood and walked and traveled through. So check it out online and comment below and tell me one of the places you would love to go this summer when that you can experience the Lewis and Clark expedition. All right, guys, just like what Sacagawea said, I hate saying goodbye, so I'll just say I'll see you later soon. May the force be with you.